Well, hello. Here we are at number 4, A Romp in Time. And I've just listened to the AI voices, and as usual, I think they've done a pretty good job. I didn't realise that it was so complicated. But there again, the subject matter is complicated. Being that it's multiple time zones and alternate universes, not to say terrible things to do with vampires, and I've always wanted to write something with vampires, and so I thought, well, why not? And apart from that, there is a nice twist at the end as well. Anyway, so this is series number 4, and 3 more to go. And as usual, I'm smiling because it's I don't know how I wrote this. I really don't. Listening back to the voices, to the way that, I mean, the way they describe it, it seems as if it's a far better book than what I actually wrote. But apparently I did write it. It makes me feel as if I want to actually read it again. I'd actually like to see it as a film, or as some sort of a play or something like that. I think it would be quite interesting, but there again, I would say that, wouldn't I? There I go, waffling again. Never know. Somebody in 2060 might discover this film, and it might discover this, and they might even make it into a film. I'll be long dead by then, of course. Well, if anybody sees this in the future, I hope you enjoy it. I think I enjoyed writing it. I can't remember now. It was, can't even remember when I wrote it. I'd have to look it up. When did I write it? I can't see at the moment. I'm waffling. Enjoy it. It's complex.
Okay, let's dive in. Usually when we start one of these deep dives, we've got, the data, the reports, historical texts, maybe some scientific papers spread out.
Right, the usual suspects. Spreadsheets and footnotes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But today, we're doing something, well, completely different. We are jumping, headfirst into the middle of a story that's already unfolding.
Yeah, it's an ongoing narrative, a really big, sprawling saga about this group of friends who keep getting dragged into time travel adventures. Really chaotic, really personal stuff. And we're focusing specifically on what seems to be the 4th major story arc in this whole complex series. The source material is titled Qartin The Vampire World. That's right. And it feels like a significant escalation point. We're not just looking at isolated events, we're seeing how the previous adventures are piling up, affecting everything. The stakes, both cosmic and personal, just seem to get higher here.
And the person documenting all this, our main source, Molly T., she sets the scene in such a grounded, almost quiet way. She's writing from her desk in Lyme Regis, January 2026.
Yeah, she describes this peace she finds in the harsh winter there. Beautiful, but cold. And she explicitly says it's a world away from what I'm about to write. That contrast is immediate.
It really is. And she flags right away that this is another chapter, doesn't she?
She does. She mentions never expecting to write about another adventure after everything that happened last year, which tells us, okay, this is definitely a continuation. It builds on what came before.
And given the introduction of things like multiple universes, recurring villains,
Yeah.
It feels structured, like part of a bigger plan.
Absolutely. The themes are huge. Many followers of this saga speculate it's shaping up to be maybe a 7-part series. Judging by the scale Vah starts talking about later, 7 universes. It feels like this 4th installment, Qartin, is pivotal.
It definitely adds weight. You realize you're not just reading about an adventure, but maybe a crucial step in this longer, possibly unavoidable journey for these characters.
And Molly T herself, the chronicler, such an interesting figure against this backdrop of, time machines and aliens, born in the late 1700s.
Yeah, and her past. She earned her living in 18th century London slums. She uses a very specific phrase for herself, a fallen demi-mondaine.
Which tells you a lot, right? A demi-mondaine lived on the fringes of respectable society, often supported by wealthy men. But fallen, that suggests even more difficult circumstances, survival in the slums.
Definitely implies hardship. And that past is a constant source of anxiety for her now in the 21st century.
Totally. She's trying so hard to protect her current life. She's got a husband, Mary. She says his name is music to her, which is lovely, and 2 young sons, Harry and Percy.
But she's living with this secret, this fictitious backstory she built to hide her real age, her past. She's terrified they'll find out what she had to do, to survive.
That quiet personal struggle, hiding this huge truth from the people she loves, that's the lens through which she's recording this latest absolutely bonkers adventure.
Right. So our mission today really is to use her accounts and the context we have to unpack this extraordinary adventure. It involves time travel, obviously, parallel universes, and this place called Qartin, where blood and snow do not mix.
Yeah, let's get into the thick of it. Where does the trouble really start? Molly T notes that before this Qartin business kicks off, the core group is trying to settle back into something like normal life.
Trying being the operative word, right?
Yeah.
Because the sources make it clear that normalcy is, well, pretty shaky. Their relationships are seriously strained from the fallout of the last 3 adventures.
Deeply fraught is a good way to put it. Let's start with Anne Boleyn, former Queen of England living in the 21st century. What a concept.
It's wild, and she's stuck, isn't she? Physically, emotionally. Vah, the alien with the time machine, could send her back, technically.
Technically, yes. But back to what? Certain execution. Or a life constantly looking over her shoulder, terrified of being discovered, so she stays.
And she seems to cope by, well, leaning into the modern world, love shopping in the West End, her mobile phone.
Finds solace in modern dance music, interestingly. Specifically because, as Molly T writes, it drowned out her thoughts. It's a coping mechanism, a mix of Tudor resilience and maybe 21st century distraction.
But the clash is just immense. This woman who navigated the viper's nest of the Tudor court, who understood power politics inside out.
Right. She gets the complexities of statecraft, but she's completely bewildered by
cellophane and atomic power, road rage, underfloor heating.
It's the randomness, isn't it? The mundane things that throw her. It makes her confusion both kind of funny and deeply tragic. Like, how do you reconcile those 2 worlds in one head?
And it's not just confusion, there's anger there, too. The sources mention a powerful inner rage bubbling up.
Yeah, leading to these scathing and sometimes inappropriate and unintentional remarks. It sounds like she's struggling to keep a lid on centuries of, well, everything. Trauma, change, loss.
And her outlet is writing. Hundreds of pages, apparently. Guarded thoughts, kept locked away.
In a small safe. That detail feels important. That safe is like the last piece of her 16th century self she can fully control. Those writings, if they ever came out, imagine. Raw Anne Boleyn, unfiltered. Her real thoughts on all this madness.
It's like she's living this external 21st century life, but preserving her internal Tudor reality. Fascinating psychological survival. And this tension spills into her relationship with Smithers.
The tall, dark, curly-haired guy, described as having earthy and low manners, which I guess is code for not royalty.
Probably. And that culture clash, centuries wide, puts a strain on them.
Yeah.
But her deepest fears aren't about the relationship failing, are they?
No, not according to her private conversation with Molly T. It's more existential. She lives in this constant juncture of fear.
Fear of what, exactly?
Punishment from God, for one, but also that the villain, Timus the bad guy from the previous stories, might somehow come back from the dead to take me as I sleep.
Even though she knows he's dead.
Yeah, but as she puts it, the way we see the world, nobody ever dies. After witnessing time travel, parallel universes, the finality of death probably feels less certain to her. She can't find mental peace.
Wow. That level of trauma. It's profound. And it wasn't just Anne suffering, was it? Stewart and Frankie. Their relationship was imploding.
Oh, yeah. This is where it gets really interesting and, frankly, quite sad. On the surface, things looked okay for them. Stewart had his successful hairdressing business. Frankie had his lottery winnings.
They'd adopted 2 teenage girls, Bonnie and Sarah, 16 years old. Looked like stability.
Complete facade. The crisis apparently started right after their last time travel adventure. It escalated until they were sleeping in separate rooms.
After a huge fight over something Molly T was too embarrassed to write down initially.
Yeah. She later clarifies, though. The issue began in the bedroom, which suggests intimacy issues, maybe stemming from the trauma they both endured.
And the fighting wasn't just, silence or avoidance. It got ugly.
Really ugly. They started trading these incredibly harsh personal insults. Stewart, the hairdresser, called Frankie a bald-headed mountain gorilla.
Oof. And Frankie.
Frankie fired back that Stewart had feet like sandpaper.
Sandpaper feet. It's almost absurdly petty, isn't it? Considering they face down cosmic threats.
It is, but maybe that's the point. When you're dealing with horrors you can't comprehend, maybe you lash out at the small, mundane things you can criticize. It's a way of displacing the real fear and pain.
Maybe. But the outcome was brutal. Frankie apparently told Stewart their thing has passed its sell-by date.
Devastating. And Stewart, his state of mind was even darker. He confesses to Molly T before this Qartin mission that he was hoping to die during it.
He hoped to die.
Yeah. Specifically, he hoped he'd die before Frankie so he wouldn't have to look at his stupid big old head in that lard arse anymore.
That's incredibly bleak. Wishing for death just to escape the relationship. It shows how badly damaged they were by everything.
Absolutely. The cost of surviving these adventures was destroying their connection. So you've got Anne trapped in fear, Stewart and Frankie trapped in resentment. What could possibly drag this unhappy crew back into another adventure?
Good question. Who or what is the catalyst this time? That brings us to section 2. The catalyst and the multiverse explained. And the catalyst is Vah, the alien expert, owner of the time machine, usually the calm center. But she's not calm now.
Far from it. Molly T describes her as being in a state of, mental paralysis, and it's down to 3 big issues weighing on her.
Okay, what's issue number 1?
George, her lover, who used to be George Boleyn, Anne's brother.
Right, him. What's happened to George?
He's in California State Prison, serving 3 years. Apparently he got drunk and floored a police officer while trying to defend Anne, his queen. Loyalty, but not great judgment.
3 years is a long time.
It is. And compounding Vah's misery, George is now refusing her visits, won't see her.
Ouch. Okay, that's rough. What's the second issue?
She's deeply frustrated with Stewart and Frankie. She feels they aren't fully processing or maybe are actively avoiding the trauma Timus inflicted on them all in the past.
They want to move on, maybe, but Vah can't.
Something like that. She feels the weight of it all, maybe feels responsible for bringing Timus into their lives in the first place. There's this disconnect.
Okay. And third thing.
This is the big one, narratively speaking. The arrival of a letter. A long, detailed letter left on her doormat one morning. Crucially, it was unstamped.
Unstamped? How does a long, detailed letter arrive with no stamp?
Exactly. It suggests either it didn't come through the normal postal system or came from somewhere else or someone else.
Could Vah have sent it to herself?
Yeah.
From the future.
That's a very sharp guess. The text definitely leans that way later on. Whatever was in that letter, Vah didn't show it to anyone, but it galvanized her. She started frantic experiments in her secret lab under the swimming pool.
Where she keeps her alien tech and the gold time machine. The Traveler.
Right. And this leads her to call a big meeting where she finally drops the bombshell. The full truth about her past, her sister, and the actual nature of reality.
She admits she held back before.
Yeah, she says she didn't want to confuse them even more. Which, given Anne's issues with cellophane, seems fair.
True. So what's the big reveal?
It connects back to when she and Timus first crashed on Earth. They weren't alone. Vah's sister, Vibeta, was with them.
She has a sister? This is new. Brand new information for the friends.
Yeah.
And Vibeta was terribly injured in the crash. Hair and skin severely burnt. They couldn't heal her immediately. Timus, being Timus, basically gave Vah an ultimatum. Let Vibeta die slowly or send her away instantly. An impossible choice. So Vah sent her away. But where?
This is where Vah explains the fundamental structure of their existence. The 7 universes. She tells them 7 distinct universes were fabricated at the time of creation.
Fabricated. Like designed.
That's the word she uses. Separate, but linked by the smallest particles that exist. Everything's connected, but they aren't copies of each other. They're different streams of reality.
Okay, pause here. This is crucial, right? Qartin, where she sent Vibeta, isn't an alternate timeline.
Exactly. Vah is very clear. It's a parallel universe. Alternate timeline is like, what if Hitler won WW2? History branches off. Parallel universe is a whole separate existence, maybe with different rules, running alongside ours.
And Qartin is the most stable of these 7 universes.
According to Vah, yes. That's why she chose it for Vibeta. Best chance of survival, even if it meant separation.
Does she mention the other universes?
Just a tiny, tantalizing glimpse. She says, one universe has advanced life forms that don't move.
Don't move. Like rocks.
More like intelligent plants, maybe? Or fungi? Taking energy from their sun. Conscious, but completely stationary. It just hints at how weird the other 6 realities might be.
Okay, so Vibeta is in Qartin. And now, Fueled by guilt and whatever was in that letter, Vah feels she has to go rescue her.
Yes. But there's a problem. The remaining time machine, the Traveler, she calls it Jard, sometimes isn't in great shape after the previous adventures.
How bad is it? Vah describes it as a little hit and miss. And she says something really interesting. The machine is missing his sibling, suggesting the machine itself might be sentient or semi-sentient and is grieving the loss of the other traveler Tim has had. Wow, an unreliable grieving time machine. Great.
Perfect for a dangerous rescue mission, right? But despite this, Stewart and Frankie agree to go. Pure loyalty, it seems, overriding their own personal misery. Stewart is chosen first.
But Frankie insists on going too, immediately. Tells Vah basically, if he goes, I go. Even though they can barely stand each other. And then, the big surprise, Anne insists on joining as well. Anne. Really, after all her fear.
Yeah, and Smithers backs her up. Stewart is apparently totally astonished by this.
Maybe they're all just desperate for something else. A distraction. A way to reconnect through shared danger.
Could be. Or maybe just leaping before they look. Because where they're headed, Qartin sounds absolutely nightmarish. Which brings us to the big question. What kind of world is Qartin? What did Vah actually send her sister into? Okay, let's unpack that in section 3. The dark history of Qartin the Vampire World. Vah explains it's almost identical to our Earth in basic physics. Same size, air is breathable, water is wet.
But there's always a but.
The divergence point is 10,000 years ago. A massive meteor hit the planet, specifically in the north, the region called Darkfell, which is Qartin's version of the UK.
Okay, meteor strike. Big deal, but survivable, maybe?
Not this one. The devastation was apparently apocalyptic. The dominant species there to survive the atmospheric chaos and surface destruction underwent a rapid devolution. They became what Vah calls blood humans.
What humans? What does that mean?
They retreated underground into caves. And they stayed there for 9,000 years.
9,000 years underground. How do they survive?
By becoming, as Molly T puts it, intensely cannibalistic. They ate their own dead, maybe even hunted each other, just to sustain the population in the darkness for millennia.
Okay, that's horrifying.
Oh.
So their entire culture is shaped by this drama.
Completely. And by their religion, which centers on this figure, the half-blind goddess Vampas.
Vampas, what's her story?
Her birth and a great injury were supposedly foretold. Legend says she guided their ancestors into the caves, saving them. And because they spent 9,000 years adapting to subterranean life, when they finally emerged...
They couldn't handle sunlight.
Exactly. Their bodies had adapted. Direct sunlight is harmful, possibly fatal. So their entire society became nocturnal. This, Vah explains, is the origin of our universe's vampire myths.
So they're not undead, not supernatural in that way.
No, Vah clarifies. They're physiologically adapted humans, nocturnal, and needing blood animal or historically human for sustenance, but definitely alive.
Okay, but they emerge into the present day. What's Qartin like now?
And here's the chilling paradox. Technologically, Qartin is advanced. They have electric cars, high-speed trains, the internet, mobile phones. Looks like a 21st century society in many ways.
But morally.
Still stuck in the Dark Ages, especially in Darkfell. Cruel, brutal, monstrously so.
How does that even happen? Advanced tech, but barbaric values.
It's a fascinating question the source raises. Maybe they adopted technology purely for efficiency and survival navigating the dark communication without ever having the sort of enlightenment period that might have shifted their morality.
And this is just Darkfell, the UK equivalent.
Crucially, yes. The meteor only devastated that region. Vah implies the rest of Qartin's world is more normal, more compassionate. Darkfell is like this isolated pocket of advanced barbarism.
And the capital city, love in their London, is the worst of it.
It's the stronghold of the old order, ruled by a king, King Broken, and a parliament called the Headmen. And society there is built on the principle that compassion is weakness.
Weakness. So what does that mean in practice?
Frequent death sentences handed down by the courts, and the bodies of the executed. They aren't buried. They're sold as food.
Go, okay. Frankie's reaction, they eat people, suddenly makes perfect sense.
It's state-sanctioned cannibalism. Even when people die naturally, the tradition in Livon is for the family to consume the body. It's deeply ingrained.
This is beyond grim. Is there any hope? Any sign of change?
A little. Outside Livon, in the rest of Darkfell, there's apparently a reformation happening. People are trying to move towards compassion, drinking less blood, substituting animal blood for the slave blood they used to use, and eating more vegetables.
Slave blood. Okay, add slavery to the list of horrors.
Right. But Livon is resisting this change, clinging to the old ways. Their popular drink is even described as an absinthe-like concoction where warm blood replaces the water.
Warm blood absinthe. Lovely. So this is the world Vah wants to send her damaged friends into with an unreliable time machine to rescue a sister who might not even want to be rescued.
Pretty much sums it up. Vah is insistent. Stewart and Frankie agree, mostly out of loyalty, it seems. Anne jumps in, too. The stage is set for, well, disaster, probably, you'd think. Let's see how the rescue actually goes. Section 4. The ill-fated rescue and time chaos. What was the initial plan? Seemed logical in a time travel kind of way. First, jump back to 1029 in their own universe to the crash site location, witness Vibeta being sent away.
Why witness it?
Maybe to pinpoint the exact moment, the exact energy signature. Then execute a tricky maneuver Vah calls moving sideways into Qartin's 1029 to pick Vibeta up right after she arrives. Clean and quick.
Okay, so first stop, 129 England. What do they see?
The spot where Highcross Castle will eventually stand is just fields, farm laborers working, but Molly T adds a chilling detail about Timus here.
What did he do?
To prevent the locals from noticing a giant alien spaceship crashing described as a dark and ugly length of wide tubing, Timus had poisoned the local water supply with a mind-altering drug. Made them docile, unobservant.
That's insidious. Long-term planning for cruelty.
Classic Timus. So they watch the scene unfold from their viewing bubble. They see the younger Vah tenderly lay the badly burnt Vibeta down, then a silent purple flash and Vibeta vanishes, sent to Qartin.
Okay, phase 1 complete. Now the sideways jump to Qartin, 1029.
They arrive. The landscape is desolate, rocky, foggy, southern Darkfell, and they find Vibeta surprisingly quickly.
Good news.
Well, she's surrounded by cannibals, although paradoxically these cannibals are part of the People of Light movement, the ones trying to reform society later on.
How is she surviving among cannibals?
Her face, so severely burnt, the locals apparently think she's the living image of Vampas, their goddess.
Yeah.
Superstition is protecting her.
Okay, so Vah approaches her. Reunion time.
Not quite. Vibeta refuses to go, flat out refuses. The trauma of being abandoned, shucked into this nightmare world, it's too much. She blames Vah.
Oh, wow. So she doesn't want rescuing?
She's furious. She storms off towards the River Thames, which in 1029 Qartin is just a slow-moving, wide volume of brown sludge full of waste, and the mission completely derails.
What do they do? Chase her?
For 2 weeks, stuck in the car's viewing bubble, trailing Vibeta across this bleak landscape, the traveler keeps malfunctioning. Vah estimates it's messing up 7% each time they use it.
7%. That sounds worryingly specific and quite high.
It does. And the group dynamic just craters. They're exhausted, sniping at each other. Frankie gets stress-induced spots from eating too many chicken nuggets they brought with them.
Chicken nugget spots while time traveling through a cannibal universe.
Yeah.
The glamour.
Right, just pure misery. The chase finally ends near the future site of Tower Bridge. Vah realizes no one in Qartin will help Vibeta because they think she's a goddess image. She decides the only way is force.
She tries to grab her.
Yeah, near the sludge-filled river, a physical fight breaks out between the sisters.
Yeah.
Total chaos. And in the middle of it, Stewart, probably panicking, tries to stabilize the situation or execute the plan.
And accidentally hits the wrong button.
Seems like it. He jumps the traveler, but not back to their time. He jumps them forward to 1800.
1800. Still in Qartin.
Still in Qartin. They materialize in Lavone, the capital. It looks like 19th century London, but dominated by this huge windowless fortress called the Tower of Solitude.
And Stewart's first thought is about the car they left behind in 1029 Qartin.
Yeah, he's worried about their transport, but Vah, her reaction here is really telling. She realizes they've jumped time, potentially screwed up this universe's history, and she just shrugs it off, says, "This is not our universe, so I don't care."
Whoa, okay. That's a shift. Not caring about messing up an entire parallel reality.
It's a huge red flag, isn't it? The old Vah, the responsible scientist, seems to be gone. The trauma, the desperation to get Vibeta, maybe the influence of that letter. It's changing her. She's becoming reckless.
And does she have a theory about why this happened?
She suggests Qartin might be a mirror image of their world, meaning maybe there are infinite versions of them out there, causing chaos in infinite other universes.
That's a terrifying thought. Does it make her pause?
Doesn't seem to. If anything, it seems to almost absolve her. Like, if everyone's doing it, what's the big deal? She's lost her ethical mooring.
And this new, reckless Vah leads them straight into more trouble, I assume. Directly into Section 5, the Tower of Solitude and the Bloodshed. They're in 1800 Lavone, and they head towards the market outside that Tower of Solitude, Qartin's Tower of London, during some kind of festival.
The observance of Vampas.
Oh.
And the market is, well, words almost fail. It's crowded, noisy, a bizarre mix of high-tech gadgets and utterly barbaric customs.
And the people.
Many are described as deformed or butt ugly. The source attributes this to generations of inbreeding during those 9,000 years underground, and is immediately terrified, starts crossing herself repeatedly.
The market stalls. What are they selling?
This is where it gets truly stomach-churning. Stalls with refrigerated display cases selling human hands and feet.
Refrigerated. So technology serving barbarism again.
Exactly. Other stalls are boiling human brains in big vats, advertised as the freshest brains in the entire kingdom, prepared specially for the Vampas observance. The smell alone makes most of the group gag.
You have to wonder, is this just food? Or is it ritual? Power display?
Probably all of the above. It's normalized horror woven into the fabric of Lavone society. And in this hellscape, they find Vibeta.
Where? What's she doing?
Working in the royal kitchen, inside the Tower of Solitude, wearing a blood-splattered apron, looking completely at home.
She works for the king.
More than works for him. Vi finally gets the whole story. Vibeta reveals she's having an affair with King Broken. She doesn't want to leave Qartin. She says, my heart is here.
She adapted. More than adapted, she found power, love in this place.
Seems so. She carved out a life for herself. But before they can even process this bombshell, things escalate dramatically.
Wow.
Enter Jaiva Savne. He's the son of the king's top religious advisor, described as filthy, covered in gore. And he's dragging a cart.
A cart full of... Oh, no.
Full of freshly executed, decapitated bodies. This morning's executions in honor of Vampas, he announces cheerfully. They're food for the royal court.
Okay. Deep breaths. This is intense.
And then Jaiva spots Frankie. His eyes go wide. He yells out, "You are .me. How is it?" He recognizes Frankie as his double from another universe.
Frankie's double is this. Gore-splattered guy delivering bodies for dinner. How does Frankie react?
He's already reeling from the market, the brain boiling. Seeing the cartload of headless corpses is the last straw. He retches loudly, draws attention.
Bad move.
Fatal move for Jaiva. Vibeta reacts instantly, protects her position, her secret maybe. She grabs a kitchen popper and buries it in the back of Jaiva's skull, kills him on the spot.
Almost like that. No hesitation.
None. She's fully integrated into Qartin's brutality. Then she tells the horrified group to help her dump the body in a waste pit so she can, and I quote, cook the creature and serve him to his own family.
She's going to cook her lover's advisor's son and feed him to his parents.
That's the plan. Vibeta has gone full Qartin. But before they can even hide the body, royalty arrives.
The king.
The queen, Queen Quella, described as having a deathly pallor, jagged, sharp teeth. And with her is Princess Vantagve, a brutal bully who's built like a man.
More doubles.
Stewart immediately notices Queen Quella looks like him. The queen acknowledges the resemblance but points out differences, saying he could certainly pass for my Brocan, the king. So, yes, their devils are literally the ruling family of this cannibal kingdom.
This is getting complicated. And dangerous. What happens next?
Princess Vantagve zeroes in on Anne, grabs her, saying she intends to cook her.
Cook Amberlin.
Yeah. The queen tries to smooth it over. She will come to no harm, but Vantagve drags Anne towards the kitchens, clearly meaning business. Stewart, understandably, panics.
What does he do? He shouts the first thing that comes into his head at the princess. Oh, shut up, you tart. He called the cannibal princess a tart. Bold move.
Maybe not wise. But just as he says it, Vah hits the controls on the Traveler again. She manages to activate it just enough to send Princess Vantagve away somewhere. Or someone.
Displaces her, like they planned with Vibeta.
Seems like it, but it's chaos. In the confusion, someone shoots Frankie. His hand is blown clean off. Vah grabs Vibeta's chopper and takes down a guard who attacks her. The group gets separated in the market mayhem.
And Anne? Where did she end up when Vantagve dragged her off?
She wakes up later. Not in a pantry, but a cell. Small, dark, damp. Chillingly reminiscent of the Tudor dungeons she knew.
Oh, God. Not again. And she's not alone. She has a cellmate who tells her exactly where they are.
Yeah.
The boiling chambers, right next to the royal kitchen. Boiling chambers. Why boiling?
There's a constant bubbling sound. Anne asks what it is. The cellmate tells her. It's a young boy, being boiled alive in salt water in a big copper trough in their cell.
Boiled alive. As punishment. Punishment for theft. The cellmate explains the horrific logic. Boiling him in salt water makes him less tasty for his masters.
Right.
It's punishment and food prep. The cellmate herself stole food for her child, so she gets an easier death before being served up. This is, I have no words, this is the system.
Absolute horror. And Anne realizes with dawning dread that Von Tog fully intended her for the pod. The cellmate mentions the princess has a preference for the flesh and the inside of females.
So Anne is literally on death row, waiting to be cooked and eaten. This might be even worse than facing the executioner's sword.
It's a different kind of terror, isn't it? Utter dehumanization. Her body, not even a political statement, just meat. Thankfully, she manages to escape during the chaos following Vah's intervention, but the whole experience, shattering.
Okay, so the group is scattered, traumatized, Frankie's missing a hand, Anne's escaped being dinner. Where does this lead? Section 6.
Stewart's trauma and the timeline correction. Stewart finds himself alone after the market fight. He realizes his panic jump that got rid of Von Togve also sent Vah and Frankie somewhere else back to 1029, it turns out.
So he's alone in 1800 Livone.
Oh.
And he knows he messed up the timeline by displacing the princess.
Exactly. He feels responsible. His solution: jump forward in time himself, try to find Von Togve, maybe put her back where she belongs, fix his mistake.
Where does he jump to?
He aims for the future and lands in 2502.
Wow, big jump. What's Livone like in 2502?
Dramatically different. The Tower of Solitude is in ruins, covered in snow, but the city around it, it's stunning. Gleaming glass towers, radiating light. Molly T writes, it's no longer hiding in the dark, no longer living in the past, and no longer acting like animals.
So the Reformation worked. Qartin eventually found compassion.
It seems so. That glimpse of 2502 offers hope. It shows that Darkfell wasn't doomed to eternal barbarism. They evolved.
Okay, that's good. Does he find Von Togve?
He does. She's understandably confused, terrified by the sudden time shift. Stewart tries to comfort her. She turns on him, bites him hard, sinks her long front red-stained teeth right into his cheek.
Ouch. Does he fight back, push her away?
This is the disturbing part. He doesn't. Instead, the source says he licks his lips, which turn dark with Qartin blood. He feels the change immediately. He's infected. Contaminated.
Like turning into one of them.
The implication is strong. The bite has passed something on. He's fundamentally altered.
Okay. So how do they all get back together? And back home?
Eventually, they regroup. Stewart, the now infected Vah, handless Frankie, traumatized Anne. They also pick up two locals, Lavis and Lisva, young lovers desperate to escape Qartin's society.
And they manage to get back to their own time and place.
They make it back to the Thames foreshore in their own universe, aiming for Molly T's time around 1799 initially. But they're followed.
Followed by who?
Queen Quilla and some of her royal guards manage to jump with them. They want revenge, maybe want their princess back.
How do they deal with cannibal royalty on the Thames?
Vah handles it. She threatens them with exposure to sunlight, which would blind or kill them. That forces them back through a portal to Qartin. But the damage is done.
The infection.
Yes. Both Stewart and Anne were bitten. Stewart by Von Togve and apparently by Quilla during the escape. Frankie wasn't bitten, but, well, things get weird.
How weird.
Stewart and Frankie's relationship, already terrible, takes a bizarre turn. The Qartin influence makes them primal. Molly T describes them as becoming like two snarling male cats, behaving like two beasts of the field in the bedroom.
Whoa, what does that even mean?
It gets worse. They develop a craving for raw flesh, and Stewart actually bites Frankie on the neck during an intimate moment. The contagion is spreading, mutating them.
They're turning into Qartin blood humans in their own universe. This is bad. How do they fix it?
Vah realizes how serious it is. She needs uncontaminated human blood for transfusions to purge the Qartin influence. Whose blood does she use?
Not Molly T's.
Molly T's. Her 18th century blood, untouched by time travel or parallel universes, is the only clean sample Vah trusts. The transfusions seem to work, halting the transformation.
And Frankie's hand?
Vah uses her own advanced alien physiology, her body chemistry, to kickstart the healing. His hand starts slowly regenerating. A truly incredible feat of alien biology.
Okay, so they're recovering. Crisis averted.
Not quite. The biggest shock is yet to come. After about a week of recovery, Vah and Stewart take a quick trip into modern London, just checking things out. They come back.
Frankie's hand is almost fully healed, but he looks around, confused, and asks the most chilling question. Where are the girls? Bonnie and Sarah, their adopted daughters.
He doesn't remember them. Stewart and Vah realize the horrifying truth. Stewart's accidental time jump, the whole Qartin mess. It didn't just affect Qartin. When they came back, they didn't return to their original timeline.
He slipped into a parallel version of their own reality.
Exactly. One where Bonnie and Sarah never existed. where Frankie has no memory of Jenny, his previous partner, or Smithers, Anne's partner. Stewart's mistake erased huge chunks of their lives.
Oh my God. Can they fix it? Can they get back?
This is where Vah reveals the true extent of her power, her knowledge. Remember that mysterious letter? And her experiments.
Yeah.
It turns out Vah had previously spent 107 years hidden away in what she calls a hyper-accelerated timeline, like a pocket dimension where time flows much faster.
107 years, while only minutes passed outside.
Effectively, yes. And she spent that century studying Timothy's methods, analyzing the traveler's deeper functions, mastering its potential. She didn't let on before.
So she's not just an expert anymore. She's a master manipulator of time, potentially.
Potentially. She now believes she can fix the timeline, restore their original reality. But she needs Stewart's help.
How does she persuade him? He must be terrified of messing up again.
She doesn't persuade, she blackmails him.
Blackmails?
With the girls. She basically says, do this one last mission precisely as I say, or Bonnie and Sarah remain non-existent forever. She holds his family hostage against the timeline itself.
That's harsh. What's the mission?
It's incredibly precise, relying on her newfound mastery. Stewart has to go back to Qartin, 1029 one more time, wear a hood so his younger self doesn't see him.
Okay.
And in the split second before the purple flash sends Vibeta to Qartin, he has to inject Vibeta with a powerful sedative, then instantly jump back to their corrected original timeline.
Preventing Vibeta from ever going to Qartin in the first place.
Exactly. If Vibeta never goes, the rescue mission never happens, the accidental jump never happens, the infection never happens, and they never slip into the wrong timeline. It should reset everything.
Wow, that's elegant in a terrifying causal loop kind of way. Does it work?
Stewart, desperate to get his daughters back, agrees. He pulls it off perfectly. Hooded figure, quick needle stab just before the purple flash, they jump back.
Yeah. Is everything fixed?
It seems so. They're back in their reality. Frankie's arm is bandaged, the hand partially healed but definitely lost and regrowing. Bonnie and Sarah are there, safe and sound, completely unaware they ceased to exist for a while. Jenny and Smithers are back in Frankie's memory.
Okay, so happy ending. Sort of.
For the immediate crisis, yes. But the psychological cost is immense. Stewart, having been through hell, infection, cannibalism, nearly losing his kids, vows he will never use the Traveler again. He's done. Broken, maybe?
Can't blame him. What about Vah? Is she relieved? Ready for a break? Not Vah. She's achieved her goals. Vibeta is safe, sedated, and presumably now being cared for properly. And she's finally free from Timus's influence. She even reveals Timus had used a chemical to suppress her natural alien healing powers back when they are enslaved together. Another layer of his control she's now shed, so she's more powerful than ever. What does she do with this freedom?
First, she does something incredibly meta. Remember that unstamped letter that started it all? She writes it now. A long, detailed secret letter, and arranges for it to be delivered to her own past self, ensuring the whole sequence of events happens exactly as it just did. She calls it creating a circular expression of integrity.
She closed the loop, sent herself the instructions. She manufactured the entire adventure to reach this outcome.
Precisely. She's not just reacting to time anymore. She's actively scripting it, using her knowledge from the future or her 107-year study period to ensure the correct pass.
That's godlike power and terrifying. What's her next goal now that Vibeta's dealt with?
Her focus immediately shifts to George, her lover, still stuck in California State Prison.
She wants to rescue him. Her final thought in Molly T's account is chillingly casual. How easy would it be if we went back and stopped him from leaving the house that night? Just pop back and prevent the fight with the cop, erase his prison sentence.
That's the implication. No more wrestling with parallel universes or ancient history. Just a quick targeted nip and tuck to her personal timeline to get what she wants.
So the Qartin mission. It saved Vibeta, fixed the timeline error, but the cost was staggering. The relationship damage, the trauma, the infection, and maybe the biggest cost, Vah's own moral compass. She gained freedom from Timus, only to potentially become a different kind of manipulator herself, driven by personal desires.
Right. Her 107 years studying Timus didn't just give her power. Maybe it taught her his methods too well.
That's the question, isn't it? She's gone from guide and protector to someone capable of deleting people from existence, blackmailing her friends, and rewriting history for convenience. She learned the villain's tricks and now seems ready to use them.
So as we look ahead in this saga, if it is heading towards that 7-book structure, what does this mean? Is Vah still a hero? Or has she crossed a line? Is she becoming the new Timus, the architect of reality, justifying her actions as necessary? And what about Stewart? He vowed never again, but he was blackmailed once using his family. If Vah decides rescuing George requires another small adjustment, and Stewart is the only one who can pilot the traveler for her, how long before his vow breaks? How long until the constant compromises erode his own integrity? Heavy questions. Vah's newfound power, her willingness to use it for personal ends, and Stewart's broken resolve. It sets up a potentially explosive future for this group. We'll leave you with that thought. When you gain the power to fix anything, how do you stop yourself from breaking everything?